Are you completely tired of spending your entire weekend digging, watering, and stressing out over plants that just end up dying anyway? Let me share a little secret with you. The absolute best, most beautiful gardens are often grown by the laziest people on earth. In this video, we are going to look at 10 incredible perennials that will survive almost anything. I am talking about 20 years of stunning beauty with absolutely zero care. I promise you, by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to create a vibrant landscape without ever picking up a watering can again. It sounds like a paradox, right? We are taught that beauty requires hard work. But the truth is, Mother Nature has already done all the hard work for us. We just need to pick the right plants. Leave a comment down below if you have ever accidentally killed a cactus or a houseplant. Do not worry, this is a safe space, and today we are going to fix that problem forever. To really understand why this is possible, we need to look back at the history of gardening. Hundreds of years ago, having a massively complicated garden was a huge status symbol. It proved that you were wealthy enough to hire an army of gardeners to pull weeds and water delicate flowers all day long. But today, nobody has time for that. We want the gorgeous aesthetic of a historic estate, but we want it on a modern, busy schedule. That is where perennials come in. Unlike annuals, which you have to buy and plant every single spring, a perennial is a plant that comes back on its own year after year. The roots stay alive underground all winter long, and they pop right back up when the weather gets warm. The trick is finding the elite tier of perennials. We are not just looking for plants that survive. We are looking for bulletproof, indestructible warriors that can laugh in the face of droughts, terrible soil, and complete human neglect. Let us kick things off with an absolute legend of the gardening world. Have you ever walked past an old abandoned farmhouse and noticed massive, gorgeous pink flowers blooming right in the overgrown grass? Those are peonies. They are the ultimate proof that you do not need to be a professional landscaper to have a stunning yard. Many people believe the myth that peonies are total divas. They think these plants require constant fertilizing, special soil, and endless attention. But that is completely false. Once a peony is planted in a sunny spot with decent drainage, it basically refuses to die. They establish deep roots and just keep coming back, year after year for decades. In fact, there are documented cases of peony bushes living for over 50 years with zero human intervention. Imagine planting something today that will still be blooming beautifully when your grandchildren are grown. The secret is simply to plant them at the right depth. Do not bury the roots too deep. Just set them right below the surface, give them a good drink of water on day one, and walk away. Come spring, they will reward your absolute laziness with giant, fragrant blooms that look like they belong in a royal wedding bouquet. It is truly the best return on investment you can get in a garden. Moving right along, let us talk about a plant that is so tough, it literally grows in the ditches along the highway. I am talking about the daylily. You might have heard the myth that delicate-looking flowers need delicate care. The daylily completely shatters that illusion. If you want a plant that laughs in the face of poor soil, extreme heat, and total neglect, this is your new best friend. You can practically drop a daylily root on top of the dirt, accidentally step on it, and it will still sprout green leaves the next week. It is that resilient. Every single flower only lasts for one day. That is how it got its name. But a single plant produces so many buds that you get a continuous explosion of yellow, orange, or red color for weeks on end. Picture a blazing hot July afternoon. Your lawn is turning brown. The sun is scorching the earth. And right there in the middle of your yard, your daylilies are blooming happily as if they are at a tropical resort. They choke out weeds, they prevent soil erosion, and they multiply on their own without becoming invasive pests. You plant 3 of them today, and in 5 years, you have a lush, impenetrable border of greenery and vibrant flowers. They require zero fertilizer. They require zero pruning. Just dig a hole, drop them in, and enjoy your permanent summer fireworks. But what exactly happens when your yard is covered in deep, dark shade? Most people assume that shade means you are doomed to have a boring, empty garden. They think colorful foliage only happens in the blazing sun. Let us completely destroy that myth right now. Welcome to the magical world of hostas. These leafy wonders are the undeniable champions of the shadows. Imagine transforming that barren, dusty patch of dirt under your massive oak tree into a lush, tropical-looking paradise. Hostas come in an incredible variety of colors. You can find them in deep emerald green, bright glowing yellow, and even striking blue. Some have stunning white stripes that literally light up the dark corners of your yard at twilight. And the best part? They thrive on neglect. They actually prefer to be left completely alone. The thick leaves act as their own living mulch, trapping moisture in the soil and preventing any weeds from seeing the light of day. They are essentially a self-cleaning, self-watering carpet of beauty. Once a hosta establishes its roots, it will outlive the fence it is planted next to. You do not need to deadhead them. You do not need to spray them with expensive chemicals. Just give them a shady spot to hide from the afternoon sun, and they will grow larger and more magnificent every single spring for the next 20 years. Now, what if you have the exact opposite problem? What if your yard is a baking hot oven with terrible rocky soil? Enter the mighty sedum, also known as stone crop. There is a common misconception that succulent plants only belong in indoor pots or hot desert climates. Sedum proves that wrong by surviving freezing winters and scorching summers with equal ease. This plant is basically a camel in botanical form. It stores water inside its thick, rubbery leaves. Imagine you go on a 3-week vacation in August. There is a massive drought. It does not rain a single drop. You come home expecting your garden to look like a burnt piece of toast. But your sedum? It is standing there perfectly green, proudly displaying massive broccoli-shaped heads of pink and red flowers. It doesn't just survive the drought, it actually thrives in it. If you give sedum too much water or rich soil, it actually gets weak and falls over. It literally demands that you treat it badly. That is my kind of plant. And late in the autumn, when every other flower has given up and died for the season, the sedum puts on a spectacular show. The flower heads turn a deep, rich rust color, providing gorgeous texture to your landscape even when the snow starts to fall. It is an indestructible, 4-season masterpiece that requires zero attention. Have you ever dreamed of having one of those romantic wild meadow gardens, but gave up because it sounded like too much work? Let us fix that by talking about yarrow. For thousands of years, yarrow was used by ancient warriors to heal wounds on the battlefield. If it is tough enough for ancient gladiators, it is definitely tough enough for your front yard. There is a silly myth out there that wildflower gardens look messy and weed-filled. Yarrow changes the game completely. It grows in neat, upright clumps with beautiful fern-like foliage that smells incredibly fresh and spicy when you brush against it. And the flowers are simply spectacular. They bloom in flat, wide clusters that look like tiny landing pads for butterflies. You can find them in bright gold, deep cherry red, soft pink, and pure white. Yarrow has a secret weapon against bad weather. It has a massive taproot that drills deep into the earth, finding hidden moisture long after the surface soil has turned to dust. You never need to water it. You never need to feed it. Just plant it in a sunny spot and watch it explode with color year after year. It totally ignores poor soil, laughs at high winds, and completely repels deer and rabbits. It provides that beautiful, effortless cottage garden look without any of the actual cottage garden chores. Speaking of effortless elegance, let us turn our attention to the Siberian iris. When people hear the word iris, they often think of the fussy, complicated bearded irises that need constant dividing and suffer from weird root diseases. Let us throw that myth right out the window. The Siberian iris is the tough, rugged cousin that never complains. Picture this: long, elegant, grass-like leaves standing tall and graceful, blowing softly in the spring breeze. Out of nowhere, tall, slender stalks shoot up, bursting into incredibly complex, jewel-toned purple, blue, and yellow flowers. They look like delicate orchids. They look like they require a team of botanists to keep them alive. But here is the amazing truth. You can completely ignore them. Siberian irises form incredibly dense clumps that practically act like concrete blocks against weeds. No weed seed is ever going to penetrate a mature Siberian iris. They do well in normal soil, they tolerate wet spots near rain gutters, and they do not care about summer heat. Once the spectacular flowers fade, the tall green foliage remains beautiful and structurally interesting for the entire rest of the year. They bring a sophisticated, high-end architectural look to your landscape without asking for a single drop of fertilizer or an hour of your weekend. Let us bring some serious wildlife action into this zero-effort paradise with the purple coneflower. You might know it by its scientific name, Echinacea. There is a persistent myth that native plants are just glorified weeds that look boring and dull. The coneflower completely destroys that idea with big, bold, vibrant petals that shout for attention. Imagine walking out to your garden on a sunny afternoon and seeing a brilliant display of large pink and purple daisies. But what really makes this plant special is what happens on top of those flowers. Coneflowers act like a giant neon diner sign for nature. Butterflies will flock to them. Bees will absolutely love them. And in the fall, when the petals drop off, the spiky center cones turn dark and fill up with nutritious seeds. Suddenly, your garden is filled with bright yellow goldfinches, happily snacking on the seeds right outside your window. It is like having a bird feeder that refills itself and never needs cleaning. And the best part? Coneflowers are practically made of iron. They survive intense heat waves, freezing blizzards, and terrible rocky dirt. They do not get sick. They do not need staking. And they definitely do not need your help to multiply and fill your garden with 20 years of unstoppable natural beauty. Finally, what if you need a massive, show-stopping splash of color to anchor your entire yard? You need Russian sage. Let us address the myth that large, impressive shrubs require constant pruning, shaping, and endless maintenance. Russian sage proves that you can have massive volume and striking color without ever touching a pair of pruning shears. Imagine a huge, airy cloud of silvery green leaves, glowing intensely in the late summer sun. Now cover that entire cloud in thousands of tiny, brilliant lavender blue flowers. That is Russian sage. It looks like a mystical glowing mist hovering over your garden. The stems and leaves contain fragrant oils that smell incredible to us, but taste absolutely horrible to deer, rabbits, and bugs. Nothing eats it. Nothing destroys it. It handles blistering heat like a champion and practically thrives in poor sandy dirt where nothing else will grow. You can plant one Russian sage in a dead, empty corner of your property, completely forget about it, and watch it grow into a spectacular 3-foot-tall masterpiece every single year. It blooms for months at a time, long after other flowers have given up. It is the ultimate grand finale for our list, proving once and for all that a breathtaking garden does not have to cost you your free time. So here's the big twist. You really do not have to choose between having a beautiful yard and keeping your free weekends. The gardening industry wants you to buy endless bags of fertilizer, weed killers, and delicate plants that die every winter. But now you know the truth. By choosing these tough, resilient perennials, you are setting yourself up for decades of effortless beauty. Plant them once, put away your gardening tools, and let nature do the rest for the next 20 years. Thank you so much for watching. If you are ready to reclaim your weekends, please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and share this video with a friend who hates yard work as much as we do. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these bulletproof plants are you going to try in your yard? Or do you already have a favorite lazy plant that survives everything? Let us talk about it in the comments below.